Greetings fellow Decepticons, Sandblaster1987 here with my first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game review. Today I'll be looking at the Speed Duel Streets of Battle City box set, which allegedly contains 8 decks, but I've actually managed to create 9 out of it. Because in addition to the cards on the 8 decks checklist inside this thing, there's also a bunch of extra cards which I've placed here with the Seto Kaiba skill card on top. So, the main decks for this set are Strings the Quiet One, which is one of the, rare hunters employed by the evil Marik Ishtar. Mako Tsunami, a former rival turned friend from a Duelist Kingdom story arc who comes back a few times in Battle City. Espa Roba, the, fake extrasensory perception guy who actually had his younger brothers communicating in secret with him to tell him his opponent's cards. Arcana, the, magician of the rare hunters, who also has a dark magician card similar to Yugi's. The unnamed rare hunter that stole Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon card. Weevil Underwood, the insect-themed regional champion from the Duelist Kingdom story arc, who again comes back multiple times in Battle City as a menace. Joey Wheeler, the secondary protagonist of the main franchise. And of course, Pharaoh Atem of Egypt, aka Dark Yugi Mutou, the main hero of the franchise. We also have 3 additional skill cards in this set for Seto Kaiba, the rival of Yugi and the primary, creator of the Battle City tournament. My Valentine, a love interest of Joey Wheeler and former rival turned ally of the main group. And Bones, the zombie and graveyard obsessed ally of Bandit Keith, another rival that ended up not being in this set. I'm not going to go over every single card in this pack because we'll be here all day, but needless to say there's a random mix of 228 trap, monster and magic cards in this set that are loosely based on the dueling decks seen in the anime used by certain characters. For example, with Yugi's deck, we have, if I can just find it, bear with me, the Polymerization card. There's about 3 or 4 of this card in this set, because polymerization is what's used to fuse 2 monsters or more into one. Then you've got the Dark Paladin, which is the Dark Magician and Buster Blader fusion monster. Just a sec. There's a lot of Dark Magician type cards in Yugi's deck, but in addition to that, we also have Buster Blader, one of his more famous warrior type monsters. The Dark Magician Girl, which is based on Priest Mahar's magic apprentice from the ancient Egyptian times, who was also Pharaoh Atem's love interest at one point. And, of course, the Egyptian god card, Slifer the Sky Dragon, which is one of the 8 secret rare cards in this set. Slifer the Sky Dragon technically belongs to Strings' deck, but since Yugi won it from Strings during the duel, it's now part of his set as well. Then, of course, we have the Summoned Skull, which was Yugi's main go-to warrior card for the Duelist Kingdom arc. And the Dark Magician, Yugi's #1 top most famous card of all time. Then, going into Joey Wheeler's deck, we have, if I can just get all of these sorted properly, the Thousand Dragon, which is the hybrid of the Baby Dragon and the Time Wizard, if the Time Wizard's Time Roulette works properly, which ages the Baby Dragon 1,000 years to become the all-powerful Thousand Dragon. Then the Alligator Sword Dragon, which is literally just the alligator sword monster riding on Baby Dragon's back. Then Flame Swordsman, another of Joey's favourite cards. Kunai with Chain, a card I'm pretty sure that Scorpion from Mortal Kombat would appreciate. Skull Dice for trap card that cuts your opponent's attack in to where the number of pieces related to the number on the die. Then we've also got, somewhere in here, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. This one was won by Joey from Rex Raptor during the Duelist Kingdom story arc and has become one of his favourite cards, along with Alligator's Sword here. And I'm not going to go through all of them because we'll be here all day and we've got more cards to deal with. So, moving on with Weevil Underwood, the insect-related duelist. Each of the main characters in this set has 2 skill cards. Then, in addition to that, we also have Eradicating Aerosol, the, bug spray spell card that, obviously, if I remember correctly, Joey Wheeler actually managed to use against him by using the Grave Robber card. Spoiler alert, Grave Robber is not one of the cards in this set, because it was used later on in the Battle City story arc of the anime. Then, of course, the Insect Queen, one of Weevil Underwood's deadliest cards. Insect Barrier, which enables a swarm of insects to block any incoming attack. And several more. Then for the unnamed Rare Hunter. The Rare Hunters are a group of mercenary duelists hired by Marik Ishtar to steal rare cards in the hopes of finding the Egyptian god trio. So, for the Rare Hunter we have Sphere Karibo, a variant of the Karibo monster that is now a metal ball. Magician of Faith, which if I remember correctly is Taya Gardner's favourite card. Floodgate Trap Hole, which is another trap card. Metal Morph, which if I remember correctly turns all your opponent's monsters into metal versions of themselves, as was used by one of the big 5 during the, Noah Kaiba Virtual World situation in Season 3. Then moving on with Arcana, the Evil Magician. We have the red variant of Dark Magician, who, in the anime, became sentient just long enough to sacrifice himself to sabotage Arcana's attack, and basically team up with Yugi's Dark Magician to defeat Arcana once and for all. Because the Dark Magician as a monster is still the reincarnation of Priest Mahad of ancient Egypt. I'll go into the full lore of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a different video, but still. We also have the Card Exchange card, which causes you to swap cards with your opponent in a duel. This is another of the secret rare cards by the looks of it, with how glittery it is. Dark Magic Attack. Now, in the anime series, this was Yugi's standard command phrase to activate the Dark Magician's attack, but, of course, it can also be used as a spell card in the card game. And as you can see on the back, the card's rear end looks like a swirling vortex of some sort, similar to, but more detailed than the way they looked in the anime series, for the sake of simplifying the animation. Then, moving on to Espa Roba, we have Mind Crush, which in the anime was also a superpower that Pharaoh Atem's Millennium Puzzle ability gave to Yugi Mutou, just as a sort of telepathic attack to break your opponent's spirit outside of a duel. Then, of course, Jinzo, the monster that destroys all trap cards. This was later won by Joey Wheeler during the battle against Espa. And of course Espa Roba's deck is mostly built around Jinzo, so we've got variants like Jinzo Lord and Jinzo Returner inside this deck. Then Mako Tsunami, the fisherman obsessed collector of cards and such. Again, a former rival turned hero from the Duelist Kingdom arc. So, Tornado Wall. This is a trap card that basically sends a load of tornadoes whizzing around the battlefield to sabotage attacks and whatnot. Fortress Whale's Oath. This is a ritual card that enables you to summon the Fortress Whale monster card, which basically increases the defense abilities of pretty much all water monsters on the field. Then, the Legendary Fisherman. This is Mako's favourite card because it reminds him of his father who was lost at sea during a fishing voyage. And finally, for the main group, we have Strings, the Quiet One of Marik Ishtar's rare hunters along with Arcana the Magician. So, Strings' specialty was slime monsters like the Revival Gem. And of course the Revival Gem resurrects itself every time it's attacked, which also enables a lot more abilities and such like for the wielder. If I can just find it. There's also a very extremely dangerous card in here called the Jam Breeding Machine, which enables Strings to produce one slime token per turn, which can then be sacrificed instead of a monster to summon a larger monster, such as, for example, Slifer the Sky Dragon, which was how Strings first used that card during his fight with Yugi. Infinite cards allows you to basically override the limit of cards held in the hand at any point during a duel. Here we go. Jam Breeding Machine. This is basically a machine-type spell card that creates slime tokens, which can be sacrificed instead of monsters to summon a larger monster, or a more powerful one, due to the way that Seto Kaiba's rules for the Battle City tournament have been set up. Now, these skill cards are not involved in the anime itself, or in the way the card game works in the anime. They're basically character-specific skills that you can deploy once or twice during a duel, depending on the rules of each individual card, that can basically either protect your cards or sabotage the opponent's strategy in one way or another. Inside the box itself, we also have multiple fold-out dueling arena sort of platforms that can be used here, and then of course on the underside of this is also where the rules are written, so you can tell beginners how to play and such like. It is an extremely difficult game to master, and I have to admit even I myself have not fully mastered it yet. But the dueling arena map here is, as you can see, based on the fight between Yugi and Arcana from the anime. So it's got Yugi and his Dark Magician on one side, and Arcana and his Dark Magician on the other. And then, on the underside, you've got the rules on one side, and the checklist of which cards belong to who on the opposite side. However, like I say, there is a bonus stack of cards that doesn't belong to this checklist added into the box for additional fun. That more or less concludes my review of the, Street Battle City Speed Duel box set. I've been SandBlaster1987. Thanks again for watching. I'll be reviewing more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff in the future. But until then, my next animation review will be the Codename Kids Next Door animated series, but before that will be my upcoming August monthly vlog, the top 10 McFarlane Toys Ben 10 figures I'd like to see. After that, my next toy review will be Revenge of the Fallen Shanghai Showdown Optimus Prime, the repaint of a Voyager Class 1 from the first movie. Till then, till all are one.